Hi all, time for another lesson on common mistakes in chess. In the coming lessons I want to take a more in-depth look at the mistake of wrongly exchanging and or releasing the tension. It can sometimes seem so harmless, exchanging pieces. After all, a player normally does not lose any material, it has quantity of pieces. However, an exchange can bring about an important change in the quality of pieces, giving one side the superior game after all. Before looking at some more sophisticated trading mistakes in the next lesson, I first want to introduce 4 different kinds of exchanges. Then we know better what we are dealing with. It may also help you to recognize and classify the exchanges in your own games. Okay, the 4 kinds of exchanges I consider are the good exchange, the interesting exchange, the bad exchange, and the forced exchange. So we have the good, the interesting, the bad, and the forced. Let's start with the good exchange. So here we have example position number 1. Black has just played h7, h6, attacking white's bishop on g5. But before retreating or doing something else, white first scans the position for weaknesses, for targets. And in doing so, he notices that there is an unprotected rook on a8. Secondly, he notices that if the knight were not on f6, then the e4 square would become available for white's queen, and also h7 would become a target, a mating square no less. So that leads him to the idea of simply exchanging the knight on f6 with bishop takes f6. Now normally you would say, why on earth would you exchange a bishop for a knight? You're also giving up the bishop pair, and when black retakes on f6 with the bishop is better placed on the long central diagonal than it was on e7. And we're not supposed to do tug of war in chess, right? We're supposed to do sumo wrestling, but now you're tug of warring the bishop towards f6, where it is on a better spot than on e7. Yes, but in this case concrete is more important than the abstract. And of course this was a good exchange, because now there is the tactical follow-up with queen e4, and white simply wins due to the double attack on h7 and a8. So that's the first example of a good exchange. Now let's go to the next example. This position is a little bit more elaborate. We can see that black is up a pawn. Also, white's king is not sitting very safely here and is indirectly threatened by the queen on f6. Black may want to play a discovered attack with his bishop to d4, for instance, what have you. But it is white to move, and he spots a good exchange. Now maybe you want to give the position some thought yourself. Let's do the usual routine. I will count to 3, get rid of the arrows, and you may pause the video for as long as you like. When I finish counting, let's come back and compare answers. 1, 2, 3. White plays here an exchange. Queen takes f7. Now, the rather forced line continues with queen takes f7, and white continues exchanging. Of course, he also has to recapture the queen. But then there's king takes f7 and another exchange of the rooks. And he also finally now gets to recapture the bishop. So not just the queens, not just the rooks, but also the bishops have been exchanged. And we've ended up in a pure pawn endgame. Now why on earth did white exchange all his pieces? Well, you could say to regain the pawn. Yes, but there is a much more important reason. That reason